Hello viewers, I'm just the model maker here. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to show you 9 ways how to make trees without any post-production from materials around the workshop. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to use this block of birch which we found, and we're going to plane some curls carefully. For the trunks of the tree, we're going to cut some fine dowel out of walnut because I like a kind of dark contrast with the birch. With the 2 pieces that we've made, carefully glue the curls onto the trunks using a bit of PVA or wood glue of your preference. This might be a little bit tricky as it takes a bit of time for PVA to dry. Take your time and carefully shape the branches that you need for the tree. With a bit of care and patience, you'll be able to shape the trees as you like. Next up, we're going to use the foam cutter, and we're going to create some foam volume trees. This is quite simple and quite effective. With the white styrofoam, I'd recommend sticking a skewer into the bottom and slowly and carefully cut wedges out of the foam. There is no specific way to cut the foam, but think of a tree that you would like, whether it's tall, whether it's small and round. Also consider scale as well. This is very important. With a bit of practice, you'll be able to create a variety of trees to your liking, and you can use different trunks or materials for trunks to suit your model needed. Next up, we're going to use some rose wires to twist an armature to create a tree trunk and the branches needed. I have to say this process is quite tricky and takes a little bit of time and practice. As you can see, I've practiced on the far top left and trying to make a better one now. With these trees that I've been making, I've been aiming at different scales, whether it's 1 to 100, 1 to 200, 1 to 50. I have to say that the majority of these trees are good for all scales, but you have to adapt the material thicknesses and quantities to suit your needs. With the trunk made, we slowly create the branches and then the sub-branches. This is a very classic tree and very detailed. Maybe in another video I can show you how to paint and decorate these trees so that they become more realistic for your purposes. And there you go. This particular tree is more suited for 1 to 50, as I couldn't create anything smaller at this time and moment. Okay, for the next tree we're going to use some plexi and a heat gun. Be very careful of the tip of the heat gun, as this will reach high temperatures and can burn. So therefore also be careful with putting the plexi too close to the tip, as this would bubble and create a fuzzy kind of effect on your trees. With a bit of patience and a lot of twiddling, we've created a couple of trees just to show the effect that we can make from this material. For this type of tree, we're going to use paper and simply a pair of scissors to fold and create a tree which we can cut branches out of and twist finally. This is quite a simple method, but with a bit of patience and care, we can create something quite random and something quite natural out of it. With a couple of quick attempts at this method, I've created two trees to show the scale at 1 to 100. Moving on to our next tree, I have some cardboard and a pair of scissors just to cut some discs to start off with. Create a number of sizes from big, medium and small. Using a file, we will poke the card in the center so that we can feed these discs into the stick to create the trunk. This next method reminds me of my childhood. I remember having a penknife and being out in country walks where I would pick up sticks and slowly whittle sticks to create different sculptures. And in this case, we're creating trees using whittling. Depending on the size of your sticks that you find, I think that the current stick that I've managed to whittle is good for 1 to 100 scale. Recently I've found this type of paper mesh in the parcels that I receive at the house. I thought that I'd make the most of it and recycle it in making trees. The paper mesh is really easy to use and cut and shape into a tree form of your liking. Simply tear off a piece of the paper mesh and then attach with a touch of glue to a dowel and then cut according to size. With the flexibility of this material, it's quite easy to shape different forms, and it'll probably take a little bit of practice, but it's quite easy to do. Depending on the size of the tree, I think this is good for 1 to 100 and possibly larger if needed. For the final tree here, we're going to go back to the hot wire cutter and cut thin sheets of styrofoam so that we can cut the individual layers for this tree. This type of tree is very similar to the card tree we made previously, but in my mind I wanted to create a tree with two trunks which are joined together. This would give the tree more volume and more coverage for the landscaping. With the individual layers cut, I picked a piece of sandpaper in order to bevel off the edges to give it a softer feel to the tree. Once the individual layers are beveled off, same procedure as always, we use a piece of dowel and carefully poke it through the foam and attach with a touch of glue. And there you go, the tree that I had on my mind with two trunks. I think that this tree is more suitable for smaller scales, 1 to 100 and smaller. And there you go, 9 different ways you can make trees with materials you find around a workshop and with no post-production. Let me know down below in the comments which one you like. I hope this how-to has been useful and that it gives you a push to make your own trees and variations. Good luck, and if you did enjoy this episode, please do comment, like and share. Take care. See you in the next episode.